There we go. Hello, this is Tim, and welcome to my platform, or welcome to my page. And book two for June 2020 is We Were 8 Years in Power, and particularly Ta-Nehisi Coates' essay on A Case for Reparations, which you can find anywhere. I believe it was originally in the Atlantic, so I'm sure it's online. But we're going to read from it. The devastating effects are cogently outlined by Melvin L. Oliver and Thomas M. Shapiro in their 1995 book, Black Wealth, White Wealth. Locked out of the great mass-based opportunity for wealth accumulation in American history, African Americans who desired and were able to afford home ownership found themselves co-signed to central city communities where their investments were affected by the self-fulfilling prophecies of the FHA appraisers. Cut off from the sources of new investment, their homes and communities deteriorated and lost value in comparison to those homes and communities that FHA appraisers deemed desirable. In Chicago and across the country, whites looking to achieve the American dream could rely on a legitimate credit system backed by the government. Blacks were herded into the sights of unscrupulous lenders who took them for money and for sport. It was like people who like to go out and shoot lions in Africa. It was the same thrill, a housing attorney told the historian Beryl Sater in her 2009 book Family Properties. The thrill of the chase and the kill. The kill was profitable. At the time of his death, Lou Fascinas owned more than 600 properties, many of them in North Lawndale, and his estate was estimated to be worth $3 million. He'd made much of his money by exploiting the frustrated hopes of black migrants like Clyde Ross. During this period, according to one estimate, 85% of all black home buyers who bought in Chicago bought on contract. If anybody who is well established in this business in Chicago doesn't earn $100,000 a year, a contract seller told the Saturday Evening Post in 1962, he is loafing. Contract sellers became rich. North Lawndale became a ghetto. Clyde Ross still lives there. He still owns his home. He's 91 and emblems of survival are all around him. Awards for service in his community, pictures of his children in cap and gown. But when I asked him about his home in North Lawndale, I heard only anarchy. We were ashamed. We did not want anyone to know that we were that ignorant, Ross told me. He was sitting at his dining room table. His glasses were as thick as his Clarksdale drawl. I'd come out of Mississippi where there was one mess and come up here and got in another mess. So how dumb am I? I didn't want anyone to know how dumb I was. When I found myself caught up in it, I said, how? I just left this mess. I just left no laws and no regard, and then I come here and get cheated wide open. I would probably want to do some harm to some people, if I had been violent like some of us. I thought, man, I got caught up in this stuff. I can't even take care of my kids. I didn't have enough for my kids. You could fall through the cracks easy fighting these white people and no law. But fight Clyde Ross did. In 1968, he joined the newly formed Contract Buyers League, a collection of black homeowners on Chicago's south and west sides, all of whom had been locked into the same system of predation. There was Howell Collins, whose contract called for him to pay $25,500 for a house that a speculator had bought for $14,500. There was Ruth Wells, who had managed to pay out half her contract, expecting a mortgage, only to suddenly see an insurance bill materialize out of thin air, a requirement the seller had added without Wells's knowledge. Contract sellers used every tool at their disposal to pilfer from their clients. They scared white residents into selling low. They lied about properties, compliance with building codes, then left the buyer responsible when the city inspectors arrived. They presented themselves as real estate brokers when in fact they were the owners. They guided their clients to lawyers who were in on the scheme. The contract buyers league fought back, and members who would eventually number more than 500 went out to the posh suburbs where the speculators lived and embarrassed them by knocking on their neighbors' doors and informing them of the details of the contract lending trade. They refused to pay their installments, instead holding monthly payments in an escrow account. Then they brought a suit against the contract sellers, accusing them of buying properties and reselling them in such a manner to reap from members of the Negro race large and unjust profits. So there you have the fight to even just try to have a place to live. And a place to live is a natural right. And when you have to fight for your natural rights, it takes energy away from other things and other things you could be accomplishing. And it takes away from your human development. So we'll see what's going to happen with housing going forward, but this is why people are upset. Until next time, take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.